Someone get the girl to bring us another pot of coffee. We've got real pilots trying to solve a real problem here. That's what Major Thorne said. And if you'd been there that morning, you'd remember the way his voice cut through the briefing room, the arrogance hitting you right between the eyes. The pilots in their green flight suits laughed, not because it was funny, but because Thorne was the kind of guy you didn't want to cross, at least, not out loud. In the corner, she didn't even flinch. Just poured the coffee, quiet, eyes down, hands steady, moving with the kind of calm you only see in people who know something you don't. She could have fired back, could have shot him a look, but she didn't. Instead, she finished her job, not a hair out of place, and stood by the door, invisible to everyone except maybe General Wallace, who was sitting at the head of the table, old and sharp, and used to seeing through people's masks. Wallace wasn't fooled. He saw the way she shifted her weight, how she seemed to anchor herself, just like he remembered from his own days in flight school, back before everything got complicated. If you ask me, people like that they don't need to say a word to prove they belong. The real problem, the thing that had everyone on edge, was this new the F-39 Spectre. Supposed to be the pride of the fleet, untouchable, a next-gen marvel. But in reality, it was grounded more than it flew. 2 failures in 3 weeks. Both times the left engine flamed out and sent the jet spinning, flat and hopeless. They'd run every sim, poked at every inch, but nothing made sense. It was a billion-dollar mystery, and Thorne, soaking up the attention, was pacing at the front, the projector showing telemetry that looked like a patient about to flatline. It's an aerodynamic stall, plain and simple. Thorne barked like anyone who disagreed was an idiot. What you need is someone who understands the machine, not a computer nerd. And yeah, he looked right at her, made sure everyone caught it. She just stood there, blank, not a twitch, absorbing all the noise like it was nothing. The lead engineer, a civilian, sweat collecting at his hairline, finally piped up. "Major, the forces at play here, they're beyond manual correction. We tried everything. It's instant." And then the room went dead quiet, the kind of silence you only get when failure is too close for comfort. Wallace's voice broke through, low but heavy. "Are there no other ideas in this room?" "Nothing. Not a sound." That's when she moved. You ever hear boots on polished tile? That slow, steady click? That's how it started. She walked up to the whiteboard, not asking, not apologizing, just moving like she'd done it 1,000 times. Thorne scoffed, loud enough for the room. "What is this, a joke? Airman, get back to your post." She ignored him, picked up the marker, uncapped it, and started to write. No words, just equations big, gnarly things that'd scare most folks. But her hand moved fast, sure, as if she could see the answer before it hit the board. Diagrams, vectors, airflow, every stroke laid out clean and crisp. Then she drew the F-39, detailed down to the tiniest bolt, showing a problem no one had caught: a tiny oscillation in the port canard, spinning a vortex that killed the engine at exactly the wrong moment. Then here's the kicker: she offered a fix. Not a software patch or a new flight manual, just a tiny strip of metal, a vortex generator to calm the air before it hit the intake. Elegant, simple, brilliant. For a second, no one said anything. Then you could hear Eater room full of grown men gasping, Thorne's jaw on the floor. "That's not possible," he whispered, like maybe if he said it soft enough, it wouldn't be real. But there it was in black and white, and everyone knew it. Wallace stood up, slow and deliberate, walked past the board to stand next to her. He didn't look at her face, looked at her sleeve, at the tiny patch sewn above her cuff. Blue-black, silver star falling, barely visible, but if you knew what it meant, you knew. The 417 Special Projects Squadron. The kind of people who fly planes that don't exist and solve problems the rest of us can't even spell. Wallace's face changed respect, real and raw. He turned to his aide, snapped, put her service record on the screen. The aide fumbled with the tablet, hands shaking, and suddenly the whole room saw the truth. Her name, Captain Morgan Evelyn. Active duty, special projects. Over 4,500 flight hours. Certified on every secret bird you ever heard rumors about. Specialization, unpowered flight dynamics, asymmetrical propulsion. You could feel the mood shift, disbelief turning to awe. Wallace snapped to attention, gave her a salute so sharp it might have drawn blood. "Captain Morgan, my apologies. The floor is yours." She returned the salute with a nod, nothing more. Yeah, that happened. Word spread like wildfire. By sundown, the equation was legend. Pilots whispered about the quiet woman who'd saved the Spectre program with 5 minutes and a whiteboard. Some said she sketched the modification on a napkin that night at the bar. Others swore she was the first to fly the new fix, pushing the F-39 harder than any test pilot dared, landing it smooth as silk. The photos of her whiteboard got laminated, pinned up in every ready room, with 3 words underneath: "Assumptions are the enemy." Captain Morgan became a symbol not of rank or medals, but of something deeper, of how real skill doesn't need noise, of how sometimes the person you overlook is the one holding the whole thing together. Thorne? He changed too. Next morning, he found her in the simulator bay, no swagger left. He watched her coach a young pilot through emergency maneuvers, then walked up, awkward, almost sheepish. "Captain, about yesterday I was wrong. I didn't get it. If you have time, could you teach me?" She looked at him, paused, then nodded. No drama, no lecture, just an invitation. That's how it goes. Respect isn't handed out. It's earned, sometimes in silence, sometimes in the glare of a crisis. 6 months later, the F-39 Spectre was flying missions all over the world. No more unexplained spins. The fix cost less than $1,000, but saved a $20 billion program. Every new pilot who joined the fleet was shown the photo of that whiteboard first, told the story of the captain who wore the wrong uniform because her flight suit was dirty from fixing the last problem no one else could solve. Morgan didn't care for medals or glory. She wanted to solve problems, nothing more. That was her legacy, a shift in culture, a warning not to judge by noise or status, but by what someone can really do when it counts. People still talk about her on base. She became the lesson of difference between looking important and being essential. She taught everyone that real strength is quiet, knowledge is the sharpest weapon, and respect is a currency you can't fake. Her silence? That wasn't emptiness. It was focus, discipline, a refusal to let ego get in the way of the work. And that, I think, is what set her apart, what made the whole thing legendary. Now, let me throw it back to you. Who gets to decide what competence looks like? The loudest voice in the room, or the one who delivers when it matters? Drop your thoughts below. Do you believe true authority is earned or given? And where have you seen a quiet professional change everything? Let's hear your stories about real respect, real leadership, and why sometimes the one you never notice is the one who saves the day.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên.
It is cold, yeah. Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're... Use the fence.